We should probably make a Tumblr, right?
Welcome to Wow If True, the podcast of your wildest memes.
We're your one-stop internet culture shop, here to dissect what's going viral, why we care, and how this might affect our real human lives. I'm, mafia film enthusiast, Isabel.
I'm 1.5 weeks into a sinus infection, Amanda.
Oh no!
Anyone can have a sinus infection on the internet, so why not us?
No! Anyone can watch Goncharov. Anyway, we only have one topic today, and it is so important. This is our special Thanksgiving weekend episode recorded with shittier audio quality and less intense editing because we were not planning to do a Thanksgiving episode on account of both of us being at our respective parents' houses and not wanting to, ask people to edit over Thanksgiving break weekend. It's not a great time. And we don't have our audio equipment, but there's really important stuff going on.
I think it's really problematic of us to ask Allison to edit over Thanksgiving weekend when she is both Canadian and Indigenous.
I'm gonna be real, I felt a little bit better about asking Allison than David, because I was like, Allison's Canadian, she already did Thanksgiving with her family. And maybe that's problematic of me, but, it's fine.
It's an American holiday in which we oppress Indigenous people, and then we ask an Indigenous person to edit our podcast for us.
We should make jokes. Allison, I'm so fucking sorry for oppressing you all the time. / sincere. Okay, but so I've already asked my parents 4 times to be quieter, and they're like, Isabel, why are you like this? And so this is the best audio you're gonna fucking get. I'm so fucking sorry. Anyway, families. You know what else is like a family?
I'm gonna guess Goncharov?
Wrong, the mafia, but yes, Goncharov. We're talking.
So I don't know anything about Goncharov, and Isabel is just telling me what Goncharov is. I've been hiding from the internet for a week, so I'm very excited to find out what's happening here.
Yes, so Goncharov, we're gonna make this kind of a agnostic to how much you were on the internet or on Tumblr in the last week episode on Goncharov, in which we will actually explain things to you. But also, I am just so excited to tell Amanda about Goncharov. So let's get into it. Goncharov, from 1973, is a Martin Scorsese film that is, according to its poster, the quote-unquote greatest mafia movie ever made.
Wait.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just, is Goncharov a real movie? I genuinely don't know.
We're gonna get into that. Don't worry about it.
Okay, fine.
It follows the story of the titular Goncharov, a mafia don in Naples, as he deals with, shit. His wife, Katya, is plotting against him. An old friend, enemy, lover? It's not a lover. Tumblr loves to say it's a lover. Andre is back, and the clock is ticking. Not to spoil things, but Goncharov dies at the end. It features heavy themes of the inevitability of death and time and fate, and, the clock is ticking for Goncharov. All that good stuff. And lots of just, very, intense betrayals and, very, thin lines between love, hate, homoerotic tension. Also, there's a character named Ice Pick Joe, because he stabs people with, the ice pick.
Sure. Cool.
In the last week, it has flourished on Tumblr. It has currently more fanfiction written about it than James Cameron's Avatar, a movie that I think is still the highest grossing film of all time. I might be wrong, but it's up there. I'm probably wrong. In the last week, there have been 575 Goncharov fanfictions written on AO3 as of this morning. And it's not really the first time that Tumblr has latched onto a really antique piece of media and kind of just examined it to death. We talked about Dracula Daily, and after we talked about Dracula Daily, Tumblr really enjoyed Dracula Daily, and every day I see vampires on my dash and sometimes a cowboy. So Goncharov is a sort of movie where so it's a mafia movie, right? It's a mob movie. It's smoke, sex, betrayal, whatever. It's a very particular vibe and mode, and it's... Are you getting a picture here? Have I described this enough for you that you know what Goncharov is?
I just want to pull back the curtain and say that right now I am looking at our episode script, and after this, there's just a page of blacked out censored text. It's
right.
literally just the most redacted document. This document is more redacted than the search warrant for Donald Trump's house.
Right, this is because Goncharov isn't real.
Okay, so there is no movie called Goncharov. By Martin Scorsese.
Goncharov, produced by Martin Scorsese in 1973, does not exist. This is not a real movie. The entire website of Tumblr, and now also kind of spread onto TikTok and Twitter, is pretending to rediscover a lost piece of media and like getting really into a Scorsese film. That is, I cannot stress enough, it is not real.
Okay, so in the words of Ja Rule after Fyre Fest was exposed as a scam, I too was hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray. So this whole time, I feel like at first I thought it was fake, and then I thought it was real because Sam, who made the podcast music, Sam of podcast music fame, he was like, oh, we should watch Goncharov. And I was like, oh, that means it's real. We should watch Goncharov. Okay. So can one watch Goncharov?
One cannot watch Goncharov, but what one can do is you can look at about 1,000 GIF sets of Goncharov that have been created from a bunch of other mafia movies of the similar time period, and then like subbed or like captioned with like writing from the non-existent Goncharov. You can read bits of the script of Goncharov. You can listen to, I think, about 30 minutes of the film score of Goncharov.
What?
Because okay, so let me dial this back and explain like the sequence of events. There is the sequence of events that leads to my statement that you can do a lot of stuff with the things around Goncharov, except watch the movie. However, you can pull up pretty much any piece of media that would prove that Goncharov exists or like looks like it's from Goncharov, except for watching Goncharov. All right, let's dial it back. How did this happen? How did we get here? There are two more fun little twists I'm going to give you. The first one is that Goncharov comes from a knockoff pair of boots. Like, the tag for a knockoff pair of boots, which for some reason had the misspelling of a different Martin Scorsese movie, Gomorrah, on the tag on the front of the boot. I don't know why it was on the boot. I don't know why we all accepted that there was a movie tag on the boot. And we all just accepted that. It's fine. And the tag said Goncharov, which was, I think, basically a fuck up between like Cyrillic and Latin script like translations in like some factory. So, which is how you end up with the name Goncharov by Martin Scorsese.
Okay, it's like when, I don't know if I've mentioned this on the podcast before, little known fact about Amanda that has never been mentioned. I lived in Laos, and you did see that, like, reverse phenomenon of how, like, in the US, people have tattoos of, like, Chinese or Japanese characters, and it just says, like when Ariana Grande had a tattoo that actually said, like,
grill.
Small barbecue grill. But then you see the inverse of that, where they have shirts that in English just say, like I have a picture of one with a butterfly that says, stop, dance in my room.
That's
just
good.
Stuff like that.
Wait, okay.
So, yeah, I mean, these are good shirts.
I have a good story about this. So as a kid, I had a pink shirt with, I think Grumpy from, like, the, Snow White. And it had, like, gold script on it. Like, I'm saying, like, really young, like 6 or 7 years old. And then I realized, and there was, like, gold script on it in English. And nobody realized that it said keep on fucking until I was, like, 9. No, okay, and the kicker here is not even that so I bought it in Korea, so, like, okay, whatever. And it was, like, not a children's shirt. The other thing is that I went to an American school. I went to an international school. My parents are fluent in English. English is my first language. And none of us figured out that the script said that. I still have that shirt somewhere.
That's an incredible artifact of society.
Yeah, I'm just kind of like, I like that.
So, did your parents not realize because the script was, like, written very weirdly? Or, like,
it was, like, a weird cursive and, like, very big, so I think nobody actually read the script. Like, I wore it to school, and I went to an international school, and for those of you who don't know international schools, a lot of them are, like, pretty Christian. So there were, like, American people there, and nobody said anything to me about it until I was, like, 9, and then I kind of examined the shirt, and I was like, wait a minute.
Oh my god.
Uh,
Wow. I'm so delighted. Like, I thank you, Isabel. Thank you, Isabel's parents.
for giving us this gift of an anecdote on the podcast. Okay,
Yes.
but back to Goncharov. So, the picture of these boots circulated for like a year, without like a lot of fanfare. People were just kind of like, this is kind of funny that this exists. And then, on November 18th, Tumblr user Beelzebub, spelled incorrectly, Beelzeeebub, created a fake movie poster for the non-existent movie Goncharov, based on the knockoff boots, and then subtitled it with "The Greatest Mafia Movie Ever Made" and "Winter Comes to Naples." And in the span of like 6 hours, everyone on Tumblr kind of decided, you know what? This doesn't exist. What if it did? So, like I said, there is a 30-minute album. There are so many more posters. There is fan art. There is people writing long, like, impassioned text posts analyzing scenes that don't exist. The fascinating thing about this is that people have started to create a canon where, like, do you ever think about, like, do you remember my art thesis that was, like, art doesn't matter long as you can, like, write about it? This is really the culmination of this.
So to explain to those of you who did not go to the 2018 University of Pennsylvania Fine Arts thesis show, really iconic, to be their moment, the thesis show.
It was titled Big Mood. I'm not kidding.
It was. Isabel's thesis was like an auto-generated text situation where it was like language from, I think, the 2016 Whitney Biennial.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, whatever.
And it's just like auto-generated descriptions of art where it's just like, yes, the teleology of the expressionist sculpture. Like, it was good. It's good. It's on the internet somewhere. Hyperallergic wrote about it. Go, Isabel.
Woo. So this is really the culmination of the concept I was building on there, which is that you don't need to see the original thing as long as you can write reams of text about it, and that way everyone kind of feels like it's a real thing. The really interesting thing here is that people have started building a canon around this non-existent movie. It's like, one Tumblr post described it as, like, collaborative script writing.
I love that.
Like,
okay, I have a question.
Yes.
So, as with any weird internet thing, I always want to know, like, is there something deeper? Like, what is the societal root of Goncharov? Like, why are we in a time when people are doing this? And the only thing I can think of is this the logical extension of Morbius?
Yes, people have been saying that. Also, like, this is great because you've actually, like, hit upon the other thing that people have been saying, that which is that this is kind of feels like the spiritual opposite of Morbius, where Morbius was all about, like, Morbius not existing, and Goncharov, or, like, Morbius being extremely good and not seeing it and not doing your best not to know about it, whereas Goncharov is about, like, building a canon for a thing that doesn't exist. I
have a question.
Yes.
I feel like there hasn't, like, I'm probably wrong, but I feel like there has not been a recent movie that has been, like, people are just like, yeah, that was a good movie. It's like you have stuff like Don't Worry, Darling, where it's like, did somebody spit into Harry Styles' mouth? I don't know. I, like, totally missed that moment on the internet, but it's like every movie is just a meme now. And, like, have there been any movies that came out in 2022 that people are just like, yes, I like that movie, it is good?
I feel like people have been saying good things about the new Black Panther, but I haven't seen it. I'm trying to think of I saw any movies that I, like, deeply enjoyed, and the answer is Imagine Watching Film Could Not Be Me, except for Goncharov, which is the greatest mafia movie ever made.
I'm also just, like, to go back to how Sam was like, we should watch Goncharov, like, I genuinely don't know if this is Sam messing with me or if Sam just doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
Sam is probably fucking with you because, like, that's the other thing. But the thing is, it's unclear, right? Because part of the Goncharov bit is that you have to fervently insist that Goncharov is real to everybody, and there's a lot of evidence to back it up. Oh, also, Martin Scorsese's Wikipedia page did get locked after 7 attempts at editing.
Does Martin Scorsese know about this?
Oh, this is so good. This was the last bit I was going to tell you, is that Martin Scorsese's daughter, Francesca, was like, Dad, do you know about Goncharov? Like there's a TikTok where she is backing it up. Somebody made a TikTok being like, hey, is Francesca gonna tell her dad about Goncharov? And then she's like, challenge fucking accepted, boys, let's go. She does not say this. That's kind of just the vibe I got. There's 2 things here. First of all, Francesca calls her dad Daddy-O as the title, like, for her dad, in her phone, which I think is just really good. The second is that she's like, she sends her dad the article about Goncharov because this broke containment within like 3 days. Goncharov has only existed for a week, but it has existed since 1973 in our hearts.
What article about Goncharov?
There's been, so the thing is, we've hit the point where there's multiple, if that makes sense. There's
Hell yeah.
New York Times, Polygon. I think Polygon broke it first because Polygon's like a little tapped into the internet zeitgeist. New York Times did it yesterday.
The thing is that this could have been something that I would write about, but I was purposely avoiding it for the podcast.
And
also, I mean, in reality, I wouldn't have written about it because I've been sick all week and also it's Thanksgiving, so I've just written like 2 articles about Elon Musk being a fucking insane person anyway.
Honestly, I really don't think there's like a good story here other than Goncharov existing. And I think that, like, my hot take about a lot of the articles are very much like, wow, look at what Tumblr is doing, which is like not that much of an interesting article.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I'm genuinely interested in, like, what does it mean that more movies are memes than non-memes? But also, I don't know if that's even true. I think that's just, like, movies generally don't go viral for being really good. And right now, in culture, we're talking about, like, this new Avatar movie is coming out that's been, like, teased for like a decade, where it's like, how could this movie be so good that it's taken over a decade to make? It's probably not going to be that good. Why were we all like so in a chokehold by the blue people in 2005? I don't know when it was.
The blue people did have good animation, but also, I cannot stress enough, Goncharov has more fan fiction than Avatar, thus making it a more culturally relevant, piece of media despite not existing. Anyway, the point...
No, and that's what I think is so fascinating, and that's how it connects back to your artwork, where it's like, the discourse around the art is often, like, more meaningful than the art. Not that it's more meaningful, but that, like, I don't know. I think all of culture is just an English class where no one has done the reading.
And in this case, we are making the reading up as we go along. But anyway, this is what Martin Scorsese had to say about Goncharov. Yes. I made that film years ago. Period. So he is in on the bit. He has acknowledged the bit.
That's so funny. Okay, so I feel like either it's like, is he just like, I'm so prolific that I don't know what films I've made?
I hope it's not that. I hope it's that he's like faking, like I hope that he's part of the joke, because I would really enjoy for someone to ask him about this in an interview or something and him give like a really serious response about Goncharov,
Also, like, does Goncharov mean anything? Like, what is that just like?
Oh, it's a Russian name. It's just like a last name in Russian, so it's like, it's not like, I was curious about this too, because I was like, is this just a nothing word? And I was like, oh no, this is a Russian like surname.
Okay.
Although I guess like surname's not the way that they do it in Russia. Russian names confuse me.
Yeah, I cannot say I'm knowledgeable about that. Culture.
See, I looked this up because I had to contribute to the culture by writing Goncharov fan fiction, because as you know,
yes.
yeah, because like, as you know, something isn't real until there are 575 fanfics about it on AO3. Obviously, I had to contribute. So I did look up a bunch of stuff about how Russian names worked for this, and I was like, where did my life go wrong?
I also love that. So, like, in the Isabel world, like, you used to write a shit ton of fanfic, but then you haven't really recently because you've been writing a shit ton of, like, original fiction. And so imagine that you're just a random insert Isabel's fandom name here fan, and you're like, oh my god, Isabel updated after 2 years. And then it's this.
Yo, people sent me, like, somebody sent me an ask on Tumblr being like, oh, I've subscribed to you. And I got the notification, and I was thinking to myself, haha, wouldn't it be funny if it was Goncharov? And then I opened it, and it was. And I was like,
oh, man.
You're welcome.
Like, there are fanfic writers that, like, you can tell when fanfic writers are real writers in real life because it's just, like, actually good writing. And it's like, okay, like, you're someone who's a real writer, but then they're pseudonymous. So I can't say that. I'm blaming it on being sick. But so you don't know, like, who they actually are. And there's definitely writers like that where, like, I would be super excited if I got an AO3 email from, and then imagining if it was like, yeah. But so what was your Goncharov fanfic about?
Oh, so my Goncharov fanfic was about, it was like a pastiche of, like, the sort of, like, one shot in lowercase letters for the title, where it's like, hey, what if this, like, deleted scene between, like, these two characters wasn't deleted? What if it was actually homoerotic and not, like, you know, fake homoerotic? So it was about Goncharov getting shot and then Andre being like, ah, shit, I guess I'm gonna patch you up. And it was, like, very, like, one of those, like, ooh, we're Russian, and life is so hard, and we used to be friends, and now we're not friends. I don't know, you can read it if you want. It's, like, it's like, fine. It's only 1.5k, because I was trying to, like, get it out quickly, and I was like, I need to contribute while the iron is still hot. And I wrote it very much in that style of fanfic where everything is, like, very, like, sad but understated sad. And also it's like, damn, the tragedy of what could have been. And also because the clock and, like, the time and, like, the clock tower is, like, a huge part of Goncharov's, like, whole aesthetic. See, I'm saying that there's an aesthetic to Goncharov as if it's a real movie, but you don't understand. People have created a whole canon of, like, symbolism in Goncharov. And
oh, wow.
So I drew upon that for the fic. And then the really fun part is that people are commenting like, wow, this is really in character. This feels like a deleted scene from the, like, shit like that, right? Because we're all playing as if Goncharov is real. I don't know. It's really fun. I don't know. I have nothing else to say about this other than it's delightful. Eric had some takes about this, which I thought were pretty interesting, but I don't know how much we want to go into here because we're not doing a bunch of editing. Sorry, Eric.
Yeah. Well, maybe Eric's takes are here, or maybe they're not. Or maybe you'll have to go to our Patreon to find them out. This is maybe, in the canon of Goncharov, I'm gonna posit that maybe Goncharov was, like, filmed in one take.
Oh,
and
I like that.
That's why we're doing the episode like this, because
it's Goncharovian. It's referencing.
Yeah, it's Goncharov.
Yeah, you can say that something's You can say that something is Goncharovian now, and you can say that about anything, Amanda. Goncharov doesn't exist.
All right, so that's the reason why this episode is very minimally edited, because it's Goncharovian. It's an homage to the style of, in the 70s film, the thing that was definitely happening, in which because you didn't want to waste film, you would just film things in one shot and be like, got it.
And this is also why one of us is going to die at the end. That's also Goncharovian.
Oh, no. I mean, I'm probably more likely to die at the end because my immune system is currently weaker than yours.
Oh, no.
I'm getting a lot better. Like, this is, like, I sound like shit to you in your ears, but to me, I'm like, holy shit, I can talk.
Yo, you can blame
Do you know how hard it is when the world is punishing you for having a podcast by making it so that you can't talk for a week?
This feels very like Greek myth like punishment, actually. Like this feels
it's
like
Goncharovian.
it does feel very Goncharovian. I was gonna say that you can blame any sort of audio issue on being sick, and that's something that you have in your power that I don't have. Because all my audio
Hell
issues
yeah.
are just kind of, I didn't bring my mic because I'm at my parents' place. Um,
Well, I still just want to know, like, what was the reception to your fanfic like? And, like, did it get a lot of attention? Or, like, how was it compared to your other fics?
It didn't get a lot of numbers, but that's also not surprising because it's a fanfic for something that doesn't exist. Like, people are...
But it has more fanfic than Avatar.
This is true. And so it got like a medium amount of attention. I would say that it's like, so you gotta understand, like I was like a big name fan, quote unquote. I don't know if that's a thing that really exists, but like I was doing numbers in some of my previous fandoms, so anything below 100 kudos, I'm kind of like, it didn't really do that good. And that's where about this is at, where I'm like, but I really did it less for getting attention and more for adding to the canon, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Like it legitimizes Goncharov to have more fic. And that's how I felt like I could contribute to the Goncharov community. Let me think. Is there anything else funny about this? Oh, I'm planning on gonching. Roshan got a post that got like 20k notes about Goncharov, and then a reporter reached out to him. So that's some fun little
amazing
things that have happened.
Wait, do you know who the reporter was?
No, because I didn't ask, and I will let you know after.
Okay, I'm gonna ask because I feel like odds are I know them.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm asking about these articles, because I know, like, I think like 2 people that I know wrote about Goncharov.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and Eric also sent me Roshan's take, and I was like, hey, that's my boy Roshan. The take is, surprised to see a movie like Goncharov getting so popular on the website that found the moral nuance of Steven Universe to be unmanageable. However, the backstory to this post is that this is just a riff on his other post that went viral, which was about Breaking Bad, and how Breaking Bad what got popular on the website that found the moral nuance of Steven Universe to be unmanageable, and life is so hard when you make a shit post that people get really up in arms about, apparently.
Yeah, I also wonder if people on Tumblr are trying to be extra weird because they're trying to fend off the Twitter people.
Wait, so this is actually what Eric's take was like, that he thought that this wouldn't have taken off in the same way if the website was not already primed to be like, get off our lawn. We gotta shoot some shots to keep the property values down. And I think that's actually a pretty fair assumption. But I also think that everyone who's saying that is not giving Tumblr enough credit for the amount of time that we're willing to spend to just gaslight everyone else on the site who's already there.
Yeah, I feel like this is something that, like, if this happened a year ago, I'd be like, oh yeah, totally. I mean, this is essentially Morbius, but even more ridiculous.
Exactly. It's Morbius 2. This time we're writing meta. But I do think, like, there was a really interesting shift in the culture over the past week where people were, at first they were cringe posting, which is cringe posting in the way that I mean, like, posting stuff from, like, 2012. And, like, it was, like, half earnest because, you know, it's kind of fun to, like, enjoy things. And half, like, let's post this super Hulak gifs to keep the people off our lawn. Whereas Goncharov had, like, a different energy about it. Do you know what I mean? Where it really felt like we're not trying to make this impenetrable for outsiders. We're trying to make this impenetrable for everybody. But also, like, inviting people to be in on the bit. And then the other thing that was interesting that Eric said and pointed out was that, like, if you weren't already plugged into the website and you got on Tumblr this week, it was, like, incomprehensible. So it did have the effect of making Tumblr unusable unless you already knew people who were plugged into Tumblr, because it's a bit that relies on knowing people who are already on Tumblr, because Tumblr isn't like other websites. It doesn't really have an algorithm. So unless you're following the people who will explain things to you, it's not gonna happen. And, like, Eric was like, yeah, so I follow you, and, like, there was one post you posted that explained it. And I was like, I'm so fucking sorry that you follow me, Eric. Like, oh my god, my Tumblr has been unusable the last week, because all I've been doing is posting Goncharov.
So I wonder if this is, like, why people don't like journalists, because does it ruin the joke when journalists write about it?
I think a little bit. I mean, I'm kind of just surprised that people thought it was newsworthy so quickly. I think it was really Do you know what I mean? Where it felt like a collaborative writing exercise for everyone on the website. Like, we were all doing NaNoWriMo together in hell. Like, that's how it felt.
It is November.
It is November. I didn't fucking do NaNoWriMo. I said I would, and I didn't do it.
You don't have to.
I know, but I said I would, and then I didn't do it. I wrote like 30 pages of a wizard fight. Do I get anything for that?
Yeah.
Nice.
Perhaps a book deal.
Perhaps a book deal. I need to call my agent. That's unrelated to Goncharov.
I wonder if your agent knows about Goncharov.
I'm gonna tell him about Goncharov. Wait, you know that there's some movie guy in a room somewhere being like, yo, how do we capitalize on this? Goncharov 1973 real?
But then if some Hollywood agency made it, then Tumblr would hate it.
Yeah.
I also think maybe it blew up so quickly just because so many eyes are on Tumblr right now as like a potential haven for users leaving Twitter. And Twitter users and Tumblr users are very upset about that because they want their little weirdo circle. But then Matt Mullenweg, who is in charge of Tumblr, is like, no, please come be on our website. And he also was thinking about making Tumblr like part of the federation of like Mastodon servers. And I don't know. There's like a bunch of like decentralized social media services that are all connected, like beyond Mastodon. And I don't know. Matt Mullenweg is kind of like, haha, JK, unless. Yeah, I kind of feel like, Oh, two other notes. Linda Carter immediately got on the Goncharov train. Linda Carter, like, aka Wonder Woman, made a Tumblr like last week, like a week and a half ago, and has now been making posts about like, oh yeah, Goncharov, I turned down a role in Goncharov to do XYZ. Like, she is completely in on the bit. However, Neil Gaiman, so annoyed by Goncharov, because people keep sending him asks about Goncharov, and he's like, you guys are so creative, stop sending me asks about Goncharov. I can't, please, God. Daniel, we can't keep doing this. So that's the celebrity update from Tumblr. Yeah, I think the thing about Tumblr and people coming over to Tumblr is people are mostly afraid of, like, the culture changing. And also, like, at least my concern is people using it with their real names rather than as, like, a fandom space. Because that's the one thing I didn't like about Twitter, is that, there's real human beings there, whereas I just want to post, like, 30 posts about Goncharov and move on with my day. Like, have it just separate from, like, my professional life, whereas, like, a lot of writers are getting on Tumblr, and I'm like, stay back, demons. But, like, I mean, also, like, the site needs money to survive. I get it. Like, you know? Yeah.
Do you have any other pressing Goncharov questions for me? We've been talking about this for 34 minutes, but I could talk about this forever, because Goncharov 1973 is an amazing film, the greatest mafia movie ever made.
Can you just briefly take me back to Ice Pick Joe?
Yeah, so he's got an ice pick and he stabs people with it.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Alright.
People on TikTok are dressing up as various Goncharov characters, and there's been a couple people who are doing Ice Pick Joe, and then one person was like, I can't find a fucking ice pick, and I was like, life is so hard for you, isn't it?
I love that.
I'm planning on, like, bringing this bit to real life later at a party I'm going to, where me and Roshan and some other people have decided that we're gonna suggest that we watch Goncharov as the movie of the night.
Is this the LAN party?
This is the LAN party.
I'm upset that I am missing the LAN party, but 1, I am sick. 2, I am in Florida. 3, I don't know how I was gonna get into the middle of nowhere, New Jersey anyway, so have fun, kiddos.
It's simply a train station. Contextually, the LAN party is that my friends for the last 11 years have done an overnight party at my one other friend's basement, where we just play video games all night, which is the sort of thing you do when you're 15 and a nerd, and apparently 26 and a nerd. So I do have to go to my friend's basement in New Jersey later today, and usually we watch a couple of movies, which is why I'm gonna suggest Goncharov. And Roshan and Aaron are, like, gonna back me up on this, so it'll be good. I'll let you know how it goes.
Should I, like, in the Discord be like, hey guys, sorry I can't make it, I hope you have fun watching Goncharov?
Don't, because then it'll seem like it's a setup for something, because I do think that they'll be like, the guys are doing the little scheme, like, we gotta, like, pepper it in, like, organically through the day, and we can't have them looking stuff up. You know, we can't have them looking stuff up.
You're so right. You're so right. I'm so sorry. That was a horrible suggestion.
No, it was
Please
great. I
don't
love your
at me.
creativity.
Thank you. I just have FOMO. You know, I just want to be included.
I'll keep you updated on how this goes.
But also, I am fully sick and should not be at a party.
Yeah, probably not.
Also, I'm in Florida right now.
Yeah, the Florida thing is really what's the kicker here. All right, that's about all I had to say about Goncharov. We could talk about doubloons for a bit, because that's the other fake thing that people are acting like it's real. But that's a you decision and not a me decision.
Rapid fire, go. Doubloons.
Doubloons. TikTok has created another false economy based, like, mini-game sort of situation based on doubloons, which is doubloons but spelled wrong, and also a little black cat that has four fingers held up, basically saying 4 doubloons. So it's basically that it'll show you a couple of pictures and be like, do you want the soup? It'll cost you 4 doubloons. However, this rapidly spiraled into rapid inflation of the doubloon economy, where people are both offering other people lots of doubloons and also charging doubloons for like larger amounts of doubloons, and also stealing doubloons from other people. However, there's no actual mechanism for doing this. If you want to actually do this correctly, you have to do the math on paper. Why is everyone on TikTok doing this? I have no fucking idea. It's very funny, though.
Okay, my hot take is that this is a setup by Big Math to teach machines math.
Ah, shit, Big Math got him again. This is what we needed in the current attention economy, is a math-based collaborative game on TikTok to get the children doing math problems.
Yeah, exactly. And on that note...
On that note, if you like this episode, tell a friend. Word of mouth is how we grow. Thank you to all of our patrons, and shout out specifically to Zoe, Breon, Rathea, Brian, and Gabriel. If you want your name in the above or in our Twitter header, slide right into our Patreon on patreon.com/wowoftrue. Shout out to Allison Mills, beloved audio editor, and to graphic designer and Canva warlock Eric Silver, who made our logo, and Sam Reiser, who made our podcast music. And also to the lovely Tessa Farrow, who is now transcribing for us. You can find us on Twitter as @wowofTruePod and Instagram and Facebook as @wowoftrue. Had your 15 seconds of internet fame, have more information about Goncharov, have some opinions on how it's the greatest mafia movie of all time, slide right into our Twitter DMs and tell us about it. And until next time, let's get weird on the internet.